beautiful people! Welcome back to aknbooks. I'm Allison and today I'm going to be reviewing Let's Get Lost by Addie Alston. This book has been on my to-read list for years, literally years. It's been on my shelf. When I bought this book way back when in early high school, I got it just because I liked the cover and the description. I didn't know much about it and I just got it on a whim. It's years later and I finally read it. It was the perfect summer read. So this book is in 5 different sections. Each section is like its own chapters. The main character is Layla and she's on a road trip going from the deep south to Alaska and she wants to see the northern lights. The whole time you don't really know a lot about Layla. You learn more about the people she finds on a road trip. I read this book entirely outside. I would go outside every time I read it. I didn't read any of it inside, except the first page. So there will be spoilers ahead. If you don't want to get spoiled, come back later after you've read the book. So Hudson is the first section. He lives in Mississippi. He's a senior in high school. The thing that caught me into this book that made me decide to read it was on the first page in Hudson's point of view. And it says, standing there against the garage, listening to the still far-off car, Hudson could forget about everything else. About school and girls and his future and whether his friends were actually jackasses or just acting like them. That part about his friends just made me laugh and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna read this book. So Hudson's section takes place the day before his big interview at Ole Miss. He wants to be a doctor. This interview is so he can be eligible and get a full scholarship, and he's working in the garage and this girl comes in, Layla, the main character, and she needs her car checked for her big road trip. Hudson immediately falls in love. He proposes to show her around town. After dinner, they're like, bye-bye, but Hudson just has her stuck in his mind. And he's like, what the heck? And he goes out the window, sneaks away from his dad because his dad wants him to stay home and rest for the big interview. They go to Hudson's secret hideout. But, you know, of course, next chapter, next morning, oh my gosh, his interview's in the morning, so he's late. There's no way he can make up the interview. He goes back to the car and he's PO'd at Layla. They had this big fight. They part ways. Layla goes on her trip and Hudson stays home. That's it for his thing. Right off, I want Hudson to come back. That was such a good section. It ends with him saying, I'm not going to forget her for years. His whole section is very poetic. The way he sees her, it's very artsy. None of the other perspectives were as eloquent as his, even though they're all in third person. Just the way he sees things is very beautiful. That's why Hudson was my favorite point of view. The next perspective is Bree. She, you know, is a little minor hitchhiker going around the country who ran away from her sister. She gets Layla into a lot of trouble. She's hitchhiking and Layla picks her up. They like shoplift, they steal a car. They stole a car. Bree wasn't my favorite. She just caused trouble and complained a lot. Caused trouble, complained. The third perspective is Elliot. He is also a high schooler. It's the night of his prom. He just got rejected by the girl of his dreams, his best friend. He got past friend zone. He just left prom. He's walking down the street. He has a bottle of bourbon. There comes Layla zooming down the street. He hits his hand on Layla's mirror. Glass breaks. Everything breaks. He's bleeding. Layla stops the car. She runs out. She's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? I hit you with my car. I hit you with my car. They are in the hospital. They talk and she's like, what's up? Is it a girl? He's like, yeah. She's like, we're gonna get the girl. He tells her how he likes things to be movie-like, 80s movies. So they get to the diner and there's Maribel kissing some random dude and he runs out of the diner. Layla drives him home. They're watching the sunrise and Layla kisses him. She goes, that's to show you that things can turn out right. And I'm like, good, that better have just been for luck because you belong with Hudson. I was like, part ways, Layla and Elliot. He goes to his house and on the front door is a letter taped on the door from Maribel and she says, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been kissing him. I should have been kissing you. She's like, meet me at blah blah blah. And of course he gets all excited and he runs back to Layla's car. She's like driving away and he goes, look at this. You want to drive me? And that's how it ends. That's how it ends. No, it should have just ended with her like Maribel being, you know, kissing the other guy and then Elliot moving on. Why is it like, I guess it was showing that things can work out and the whole point of it was like a movie plot. Like, it does all work out in the end. Oh, that made me a little mad, because I'm like, Maribel didn't do nothing good to him. So he ends up getting the girl. I liked that perspective though. Elliot was like my second favorite perspective out of the 5. The next perspective is Sonia. Sonia's perspective is very entertaining as well because the whole time I was like, oh, how are they going to get over the border? It was like nerve-wracking. I read straight through it. In Sonia's perspective, Sonia and Layla were like talking and Sonia's like, so do you have a boyfriend? And Layla's like, I did, but we got in a big fight. She means Hudson. It's like revealed that Layla's still hanging on to Hudson. She's still sending him postcards. She's still hanging on, and that's what keeps me going. And the very last perspective is Layla's perspective. It's just her getting to Alaska to see the Northern Lights. The postcard before Layla's section was to Hudson again. She gives Hudson her address at the campsite in Alaska, and she's like, I hope you'll be there. I hope you'll contact me. But 2 nights later, she does see the Northern Lights, and she thinks it's beautiful because it is, but she's like, I came here to see the Northern Lights and I saw them. I'm gonna go back home to the only people I do know, which is her aunt and uncle. So she checks one more time to see if there's any mail from Hudson. There isn't, so she just goes back home. And it's like, ugh. The last chapter, Layla's home alone, but there's like a knocking at the door. She goes to the door and she opens the door and it's Hudson! Hudson's standing there. He's tired. He's like bags under his eyes. He's like has a tan from the whole summer. It's been like months. It's been about 2 or 3 months. I'm like, I've been waiting all month for this. So he's like apologizing. He's like, I can't believe you gave me the best night of my life and I didn't give you my number. They end up together. So that's exactly how I wanted the book to end. Whew. So that is how the book ends. It ends with Hudson and Layla together, how the book started. That's how I wanted it to go the whole time. I'm so happy they ended up together because, you know, Hudson was a gem. So she's happy, Hudson's happy, everyone ended up happy, and I'm happy. It was a good, like, I've never read like a summer read in the summer. So this was great. I read this in August. This is August when I'm filming, but I'm not sure when this is coming up. So that's why I'm saying I read this in August. The only time I like kept stopping was in Bree's section. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. I posted a picture of this book on my Instagram, and the author, I tagged the author in it, Addie Alstead. He liked my post. He saw it. He saw my post. So you can go check that out. aknbooks. So that is all I have for you today. I hope you liked it. I know it was a little rough. I will get better at book reviews in the future as I keep doing them, I promise. Thank you for watching. Thank you for bearing with me. Please check out my other videos on aknbooks here, and please check me out on Twitter and Instagram at aknbooks. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, beautiful people.